Howdy, folks. I'm a cabbage.
I'm Amber.
And here's some sauerkraut. Wait, what?
Chop chop.
Alright, folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for My Reaction to My Birthday Present? I'm a 29-year-old female, and I met Will, a 30-year-old male, 6 years ago when I moved into a new apartment close to my university. He was my next-door neighbor, and offered to help me put together my flat and pack my furniture. We really hit it off, and have been together ever since. Will was married out of high school to someone who was not a very good match. They were young, dumb, and made a colossal mistake. Will recognized how crazy it was to marry someone at 18, but at the time, they really thought it was a good idea. That being said, the breakup and fallout was terrible. This was before I met Will, but it sounds like both sides were out to inflict as much pain as possible. Fortunately, there were no children or assets, but it was not a smooth process by any means. Will reached out to his ex-wife relatively recently, about 2 years ago, to apologize for all the pain that he put her through, which I thought was quite nice of him to do. She also apologized for her actions, but both agreed that they did not want to stay in contact. However, coming out of that, Will told me that he has realized that he never wants to get married again. This was a surprise to me, but I have never really wanted to have the white picket fence, so no marriage didn't really bother me. I am happy just to be in a long-term committed relationship. Well, recently, it was my birthday, and we had some people over for a barbecue. It was really lovely, but Will insisted that we do presents in front of everyone. I haven't ever really done that, but I didn't have any issue with it. Everyone gifted me really sweet and thoughtful items. It was a blast until I got to Will's gift. Will had been really bragging about how this was the perfect gift, and I had to save it for the last one because it was the best. It was diamond-tipped drill set. To be clear, I do not own a drill, and have no interest in anything related to drills. My face fell, and Will burst out laughing, saying that these were the joke, and that these were the only diamonds that I would ever expect from him. Get it, because we aren't ever getting engaged. I was so humiliated, I excused myself and I went into the house, and I suppose that everyone left after a while. Will tried to then give me my real present later that evening because the drill bits were only meant as a joke, but I didn't even open it because I couldn't understand why he was so cruel in front of all of my friends. Will says that I'm overreacting when I have another gift, and I agreed that we wouldn't get married. I feel really hurt, and Will doesn't seem to get it. Am I overreacting? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. He seems to be rubbing in your face and everyone's face that you're never getting married. It does seem like it's humiliating. It doesn't seem like a in good fun type of thing.
Well, and also, Will didn't make this clear from the very start of the relationship. He never said from the very beginning, and that's something like one of those things where you really need to let the person who you're in a relationship with know that you're never going to be interested in getting married.
He changed the terms of the arrangement, and OP was okay with going along with that, but it seems like that's not necessarily what OP wanted or expected.
Yeah, she probably wanted to get married, but is happy with a long-term relationship. She's just happy to have Will, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, and that kind of brings up a good point. It might have been different if OP had always been saying, I never want to get engaged, and that was a big running joke between the two of them.
Yeah, if she had been like, oh, if you give me a diamond ring, then it's over, type of thing, right? And then him getting her a pair of diamond drill sets would have been like, oh, ha ha ha.
But,
right.
I just can't fathom why he thought this would be a good idea.
Yeah, the thing is that if you make a joke, then it really needs to be something that someone is secure with and that they're not uncomfortable with, or that it's even a slight bit causes insecurity with them. Because those are the kinds of jokes that will eat away at a person if they are slightly insecure about something, right? And I think that's really the kind of thing that you have to really keep in mind when you make a joke, is that if you're making a joke about somebody, then they need to be in on the joke.
Yeah, instead of, it sounds more like, oh, ha ha, I'm not wifing you. It has kind of the undertone of like, you're not good enough to get this out of me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too good for marriage, so.
Yeah, so I do think you have to be really careful about stuff like that. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. And column K says, not the jerk. That's a really horrible thing to do anyways. To do it in front of others is despicable. Even if you were fine with not getting married, turning it into a joke is not okay. Jokes only work when both sides are laughing. For him to see how hurt you are and not immediately apologize profusely is a sign that he doesn't care about how you feel. And Marital Paint 6281 says, I bought a baby rattle because you can't have kids. I can see your future with this guy. OP. Also, think how heartless he'll be acting if you decide to have a break from him, or God forbid, a breakup. Not the jerk, but please make sure you have a good support system and let them know if you want to make any big decisions. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for making my girlfriend cheap lasagna? I'm a 24-year-old female, and I make delicious lasagna from scratch that takes hours and lots of money. So it's so good that friends and family ask me to make it for them for birthdays instead of getting them a gift. Well, last month I decided to make it for my girlfriend, a 23-year-old female. I spent a lot of money on the ingredients and then more than half a day making the herb-infused fresh pasta, dough, ragu, etc. When she came over, she took a couple of bites and said that she didn't understand why I spent so much money and time on it because it tasted exactly like the lasagna that she would make with the canned panzanella, bologna sauce, and boxed pasta sheets. Not similar, not kinda like, but exactly like. My feelings were a little hurt, I'm not gonna lie. But I understand that to each their own taste, and I just told her that I'm sorry that she didn't like it that much, and I didn't keep pushing it, and suggested that we watch a movie. Well, flash forward to yesterday, she was coming over for dinner, and I asked her what she wanted to eat, and she said lasagna. So I popped over to the store, and I got a panzini sauce and a pasta sheet to make it because A, she said that my lasagna and quick made ones tasted exactly the same, so there wasn't any need to spend a lot on ingredients, and B, because even if I wanted to make my recipe, I wouldn't even have the time since it takes me an entire afternoon, which is why it's a special occasions thing. So she showed up at my house, took one bite of the lasagna, and then spat it out and said it tasted different. When I told her how I made it, she got really upset with me and said that I wasn't putting any effort in and that she was expecting to have a real meal and not something cheap. I pointed out the other comments that she made last time, and she rolled her eyes and said that she was clearly exaggerating. So then I got upset because, what? The situation got brought up to our mutual friends. Most have stayed out of it, but the two of them think that I'm the jerk because my girlfriend clearly meant that she wanted my special lasagna, which is why she asked for it for dinner, and said that I should have let her know beforehand that I was going to make one using the pre-made sauce, etc. I think that it was clear that it's what I was going to do because she literally asked me 2 hours before coming over, which is not enough time to make the special one even if I wanted to. To clarify, the cheap lasagna tasted just fine. It had even a pretty good taste, just not all the comparable to the original one in my opinion. And edit, just wanted to say that I've posted the lasagna recipe in the comments for those who are interested. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Your girlfriend said your lasagna tasted like the pre-made stuff, so like why go to all the time and energy to make a dish that if she's not gonna can't tell the difference?
Yeah, I don't think OP's in the wrong here. It seems like their girlfriend knew the expectation, one, of the time commitment, and two, if she doesn't know the difference, then who cares? And honestly, I'm sure that OP's special lasagna does taste really good, but I'm sure OP's cheap version of lasagna tasted just fine as well. I mean, lasagna's pretty good all in all, and, if you make a good lasagna, it's gonna taste fine, right?
Yeah, well, and like, it takes so much time and energy, and why would you want to make a special meal for someone who's that ungrateful?
Oh, yeah. It's a long process to make lasagna, and I can't blame OP in the least for not wanting to put in the additional time and effort for somebody who was like, whatever, it's okay.
Like, at
Right.
least when you make lasagna, I rave about it. But we don't make it a lot because it is a big time commitment.
Well, it is. It's a very expensive dish, and like you can spend a lot on cheese, you can spend a lot on the noodles and everything else, the filling. It is a very expensive dish, and the fact of the matter is that the Stouffer's lasagna tastes just fine,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes only the amount of time that you throw it into the oven.
Yeah.
So that's my big motivation for the Stouffer's lasagnas is because they're like, oh, they're frozen lasagnas that taste perfectly good when you cook them up. Are
Mm-hmm.
they as good as homemade lasagna? No,
No.
but they're passable.
Mm-hmm.
They're just fine. So I don't blame OP in the least here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Bostonia says, I need this recipe before giving an opinion. Seriously, though, not the jerk. Don't talk about someone, then complain when somebody listens to you. And OP has the recipe posted here, and I'll leave parts of it on the screen for people. Maybe I'll even post it in the comments for anyone. Well, that is quite the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that's going to take a significant amount of time for anyone to make something like that. All right, folks, our next letter is titled Girlfriend, 24-year-old female, is mad at me, a 32-year-old male, for not paying for her and her friend's dinner. She's being melodramatic and ridiculous. The other night, we agreed that I'll be picking her up from a restaurant that she was hanging around with her friends in. It's pricey, new hotspot in the city, and they were there to celebrate one of her friend's engagements. Apparently, she took it upon herself to offer to pay for the whole check since everyone paid for something except for me, and I felt embarrassed for not contributing. While I was outside waiting for her, she gave me a call. Her voice was a dead giveaway of her freaking out. And she started telling me that she's in the bathroom panicking because when she attempted to pay, her card got declined and she felt even more humiliated in front of her friends because of it. She started begging me to come to the restaurant and pay for the dinner. The bill was above $1,000. Which is no surprise because there are 6 and it's an expensive place and they clearly went crazy at it. I refused and I told her just to ask her friends to split the bill. She started crying and hung up on me. Refused to get in the car or come back to my place. It's been a week and she's still mad. How do I solve this? Alright folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think OP, yeah, you're definitely not obligated to shell out $1,000 for something you had no idea was expected of you.
$1,000 is a lot of money to just sink into something.
Mm-hmm.
And if everyone already had the expectation that they were going to pay for their own bill, then just because OP ended up not being able to afford it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to hate her for it or anything like that. Honest mistakes happen, but really, I think this is a good lesson not to overextend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also not good to put $1,000 worth of debt onto a credit card, especially if you're already at close to your limit. So I think that she really needs to learn some money responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like she's really a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard because, I understand not wanting to disappoint your friends, but like, again, don't make offers that you can't fulfill and expect other people to fulfill them for you.
Yeah. And that is an expensive meal.
Mm-hmm.
Like that must be like $100 some odd per plate, right? That is a lot of money to spend per plate.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine.
It must have been really fancy. That's all I can say.
I don't think we have restaurants like this in our neck of the woods.
I don't think we do.
Like for us, Olive Garden is like the height of fancy in this area.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we do have a couple other sit-in restaurants that are probably close to being as fancy, but Olive Garden's like the most well-known of them, I would think.
But what's even better than Olive Garden is Brian's cooking.
Oh, yeah. But anyhow, OP, take care and good luck. I don't know if we told OP a way to solve their
I
problem.
don't think we did, but
The problem is that she needs to learn financial responsibility.
mm-hmm.
All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Knock knock.
Who is there?
Water.
I only answer the door to T.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Water.
We just had this discussion, water. I don't answer the door to water. I only answer to tea. I'm sorry. There's if you were coffee also, but I don't answer the door to water. I don't open the door.
Knock, knock.
Okay, fine. Who's there? Drowning. Oh no, I'm
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Water.
What? Who?
What are you doing right now?
Drowning! That's what I'm doing! We just established this. Thank you very much. And I have Mega Mint.
I have water as well as Mega Mint.
Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Wednesday. I don't know what day of the week it is anymore. Amber, I need some good moral guidance, and please have it involve some water and sauerkraut. Got a tasty hankering.
If you don't want $1,000 dinner bill, you could always go with some water and some sauerkraut. Unless that's really a high-end sauerkraut, it's not going to be $1,000.
I mean, that's true. That's a good moral. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.